Hello everybody and welcome back to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will, I'm a D&D sex icon, and I just so happen to be the world's greatest roleplayer. That's why I'm here today with some of the other world's greatest roleplayers, and certainly at least in the top 5, I would say, that we're here. And we're here to play some Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Now, somewhere, 1 to 5, not sure which one he is Grimjack215R2, who is definitely our Dungeon Master for the series. Greg, how's it going, my friend?
Oh, doing well. Getting ready to dive into the deep of the water and see exactly what we can do here. I know that we were missing somebody today, so expect a sort of a pre-victory lap around Waterdeep to get the let's get the lay of the land a little bit before we dive in head first.
I like that. We're so confident that this series is going to be amazing that we're going to give you a highlights, a best of, before we've even done it. That's just how amazing the world's greatest role players are here on Encounter Roleplay. Well, we also have Pip, Tiny Pixels, with us tonight. Pip, how's it going?
Hi, everything's good. Everything's good. I'm doing all right. I'm
Good.
excited to start. I'm so excited to start. It's not even funny. Like, I've been
It's
bugging
actually
everybody
sad.
all week,
It's actually
being
upsetting.
like, "Hey, is it Monday yet?
Help.
Hey, is it time yet? Is it time to go?" Like, I'm so excited.
Awesome. Do you want to write us a little bit about your character as well? Because it has been a whole week since last week.
Yes. So I play Morwen, who is she's a fish. She's a Triton bard. Plays the plinky plonk, does the singy sings, is a fish. Does some crimes with her friend, who's not here, so maybe only single crimes today. Sad
Single
crimes today. Small one. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that cracks on.
Awesome. Fantastic. And yes, James Hake will be with us next week. He's feeling a little under the weather, so we wish him well and send him all of the best Waterdeep vibes his way. But we, of course, have Mythomatic back with us tonight. Myth, how's it going, my friend?
Going great. I actually wasn't sure if I was going to make it today, but the bus came in just in time, and moments before we went live, I was scrambling together and got everything set up, and I'm here, and I'm happy to be playing. I'm playing Edmure, last name, Daggerfell. He is a bit of a drug addict and among the streets of Waterdeep, pretty much a drugged out Ronnie Dangerfield, happened to be a blood hunter kind of character. Probably ex-bard, now rogue, actually I guess now blood hunter. But yeah, that's me. I'm happy to be here. It's Cardigan season, and I'm ready. It's like I'm in my final form, Will. I'm happy. So
Isn't that when the moustache grows back at end of week, whatever? When we
you're right.
finish, and
You're right.
that's
Yeah,
like
you're
when
right. I'm
Megazord is
ascending
formed?
still. Yes, exactly. Yeah, the Megazord, the Mythozord will be soon. DM.
I like that. Awesome. Well, and of course, last but not least, we have Caroline OMG Vandy back with us tonight. Vandy, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. Had a pretty chill day, ready to play some D&D and explore Waterdeep.
Hell yeah. And who are you going to be playing? Remind us about, God, I've forgotten her name because it's been so
Ruva.
much time. Ruva, that's right.
Ruva.
Yeah, so I'll be playing Ruva. She's a Tabaxi barbarian
Kahlua.
from very far away, and she will be trying to keep the rest of the party in line because everybody wants to do crimes, and she just doesn't. She just doesn't. She wants to protect.
That
Only
will
for
go
me. No crime.
one of two ways, I think. One of two ways for Ruva. And certainly for my character as well, Graham, who is a young dragonborn alchemist who really just wants to be an artist. He's here in Waterdeep and has kind of got a little bit wrapped up with Edmure, the drug addict. But he's got this super cool, big sister or friend's big sister, Ruva, to try and steer him onto the right course. He is very open-minded to everything. He can very easily be led in the wrong or the right direction. And for Graham, all my achievements for Graham so far that I want to achieve this campaign are make a potion of healing to make my parents proud, and secondly, to do a piece of art which is worthy of being in the Waterdeep Gallery of Art. And if I achieve those two things, doesn't matter if Graham lives or dies, because he'll be happy. So that's who we're going to be playing today. Before we let Greg take us away on a wonderful journey, I remind you guys we're sponsored here today by fantasygrounds.com, our virtual tabletop of choice. All of the roles, all of the tokens and maps are from Fantasy Grounds. And of course, whalinggames.co.uk, the go-to destination for tabletop and board games and minis. Check them out for up to 20% off the retail price. And of course, tabletoploot.com for your dice needs. Every game they give away a set of dice for you guys in chat. All you have to do is be around and chat, and you'll be eligible to win a set of dice at the end of each game. So definitely go and check those guys out because they're awesome and super cool. Of course, as per usual, you guys can interact with today's game. If you haven't tweeted, retweet this tweet. 20 retweets. You guys get to decide something which happens next in our game. Same goes for subscribing. We're already 3 out of 5 of the way there for subs. And of course, you can donate at any point to affect the game by giving players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, and worse. But I'm going to hand over to Greg real quick to take us into today's game and to start this Waterdeep Dragon Heist adventure.
Okay, thank you very much, Will. And to start into Waterdeep Dragon Heist, we've met the characters. Last week on our episode in Session 0, we were able to kind of delve into why they're here. But as we mentioned at the end of last episode, here is a character unto itself, and here is Waterdeep. Just a bit of coast along the Sea of Swords sits a grand and old city, a city of splendors, a city of dreams. And while this or that may be considered its greatest commodity, only one thing can claim the title of Waterdeep's favored child. Its tales. Some know many, but none know all. Perhaps there's one. Inside this city of splendors, we see a human, ratty and beige, his clothing weathered and dried, dampened by the sun innumerable times, his hair thin, a horseshoe and long, straggly around his shoulders and around his thin face. He shuffles through this city of splendors, shuffles as only somebody that has purpose without cause can. This patchy beard dots his chin. It creates a blur of that same beige fuzz, not thick enough to warrant substantial dwarven growth, but something that speaks more of sickness than of presence. His feet are bare and calloused from the cobblestones he walks every day, and the only color that splashes his entire frame is the red at his left ankle where a dog has nipped at him, a mongrel that wished to feast on the same refuse he drew from a pail in the city of splendors. But the only thing about him that is not beige besides the blood are his eyes. Brilliant blue-green. They were the eyes of a sailor, a painter, a poet, a king. Crystal clear, wide, and alert. 2 exquisite gems thrown in the mud of a man unmade. He travels down the streets of Waterdeep through the trades ward. There are wanted posters up, speaking of a large, unidentified pickpocket who has been preying on the wealthy and that may or may not have an accomplice. His presence is known by the city dwellers who dismiss him. In turn, for those seeing him for the first time, even the visitors, with the kindest of hearts, will cross the streets to avoid his presence. As the man walks in a stiff, half-stumbling gait, he speaks loudly, repeating the same phrase over and over again. And that is why they call him the Dreamer, because all he ever says, "I've dreamed it. I've dreamed it all. The city of splendor. City of dreams. I've dreamed it. I've dreamed it all. City of splendors. The city of dreams." And as our characters are sitting inside the tea and coffee house of London's fog, they hear this poor man, the Dreamer, walk just outside the window, and they can hear the muffled, "I've dreamed it. City of splendors. City of Dreams, as he walks by. But here inside the London's fog, where the plights and the task of this man are of little concern to people consuming hot beverages or maybe something a little cooler. As they walk through and as you're all sitting there, you're waiting for, if you are Morwen, perhaps Val, who has not yet shown up. But as you're looking around, you see a warm, comfortable setting. The bartender, barista, Gordon, a handsome human with finely parted hair and a yellow shirt with an apron over his shoulders, is currently wiping down the glasses. A small bipedal lizard is curled up on an ornamental rug on the bar itself, and he seems to be smoking a cigarette. And around here you see the patrons of the day, middle class or above for the City of Splendors, certainly not someone that the Dreamer would associate with, perhaps not anyone that the PCs would associate with, but you are seated among them now. And what are you doing, my party, as we begin Waterdeep Dragon Heist?
Ooh, I believe I would be walking in with Graham and trying to sit him down to basically enjoy the environment. I don't believe he's ever been in there, and neither have I, but after doing a bit of research, seeing as this would be a place for him to express himself and surround himself by good people, I brought him here as a treat.
Yeah, Graham's sort of nervously, excitedly looking around and at all the paintings and all the the drinks that people are having and the food that they're eating, and he's just got this probably slightly stupid-looking grin on his face, as he's got quite the overbite because of his dragon jaw, and his big teeth come out in a slightly goofy fashion as he watches all of this.
Yeah, Graham, you would see people that absolutely are up your, not the alchemist side that you have unfortunately not proven to have as many skills as perhaps your parents would like, but that artisan side of Graham, where you see people that are sketching. There are charcoals just kind of spread out on some of the tables as people are being very observing everything. And as soon as the two of you walk in, you see a halfling girl as she pours over a sketch pad and begins to sketch something as you come in. It's all very profound, the movements of the artists here in London's fog.
Mouth agape, and just wow.
Would you like to look around with me?
Can I? Oh,
well, yes, that's why I brought you here.
Okay.
Why don't we, I don't know, grab ourselves a drink right off the bat?
Okay.
How old are you again? Doesn't matter. Back where I come from, anyone can drink. And I'll walk up to the bartender with Graham.
Okay, Gordon, the bartender, each of you roll a perception check, or I will take an insight check here as you walk up to Gordon.
Yeah, I'd definitely be kind of checking him out a little bit. How do we do this? That's the first thing.
Yeah, it's a good place to start. As if you guys want to look on your character sheets, you should be able to go right beside perception, and you'll see a little red dragon. You can click on that, and it'll auto-roll it for you. Or you can just grab the 20 and throw it right in the chat box.
Perception. Okay. Oh, wisdom. Oh, the dragon. There we go. No, doesn't work. Unable to open window using wildcard. Okay, I'll just put in a 20 there.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, there we go. That's a 7.
Okay, so Graham, as you are looking around, Ruva, you're sort of kind of fixated on just a couple things here. You're not taking in, you're always looking for danger or, kind of assessing the situation, maybe paying a little bit more of attention to Graham as he's actually kind of just taking in this whole place. And Graham, as you're taking in this whole place and your attention turns to Gordon, who is the bartender, you notice that he seems... You don't know this man, but he's telling all of the signs of someone he's continually looking at the door. He continues to turn around and listen towards the back. It's as if he's waiting for somebody, and he's making no show or no attempt to hide that his desire is to see somebody come through that door. And on cue, Morwen, why don't we have you come into London's fog at this moment?
Sure. So I'm gonna walk in, and I'm immediately gonna try and scout for Val. Maybe try and hide it, stand a little bit tall, kind of look around as if I'm disinterested in the place. All the while I'm desperately trying to see if Val's here today. And I'll shoot a look at Gordon to see if maybe he can give me some sign.
Right, because you would know Gordon as you have been in this place before. You have probably performed here before. And when Gordon, as soon as you walk in, Gordon's eyes meet yours as you're coming in through the front door. And as soon as he sees it's you, he's not disappointed it's you, but you can see that his face kind of falls a bit. And as soon as he sees you kind of glance around, he slowly shakes his head, answering the question that you did not ask. Val is not here.
Okay, so that must mean he's due in, or that, at least we're expecting him to be around. So I'll take a seat in a quiet corner, pull out a bit of parchment, and start to just scribble on it. The usual, what the streets around here look like, what shops are nearby, where people like to stand on corners, that sort of thing.
Okay. We will also say that on your way in, you saw the Waterdeepian fixture of the man known as the Dreamer. And as that man is explained, the scarecrow who just shuffles by on bare feet, perhaps he finds his way into your most recent drawing as you are kind of sketching the area around London's fog. And speaking of the area around London's fog, let's creep to the outside as Edmure, you are presumably tailing your young ward and his would-be mentor in Ruva. You are on the outside of London's fog and looking in. And before you do anything, my friend, I'd like you to roll a d20 for me.
Perfect. I have just the hotkey for this. In theory. 12.
Okay, so as you're standing there and as you kind of look around, the mid-afternoon sun is bright and clear over this crisp fall day. It is the month of Iliant, or what they call the fading, which would be September in North America for anybody keeping track of the actual month and the corresponding weather. It's getting colder, winter is coming, but today, on this day in the City of Splendors, it is befitting the title given to the city as the weather above reflects the ideals of the city below. And as Edmure creeps towards London's fog, he does so beneath blue skies.
Okay. I picture Edmure walking a bit like a saunter, like Jack Sparrow, as he tries his best to sneak, because he knows, he knows where his buddy Graham is, and he knows that there is a way that he can probably weasel some money out of Ruva, possibly. He does make his way around the town in a long lap around the square before he makes his way back into London's fog. He knew that that's where they were going. He's probably seen them make their way in, and he wanted to give them some time before he can actually head on in. I assume he bumps into, or I'm going to just say that I kind of brush shoulders probably a little bit more aggressively than I mean to, but also just to get a reaction out of him, the dreamer, as I kind of like sort of half body check him just to see how he'd react. And based off of that, I assume the dreamer continues babbling his dreams, and Edmer just chuckles to himself. That always gets me. And then he keeps walking towards into London fog, not as stealthy as he once was, but now a bit of a show as he makes his way in. I assume some people may know him from being the old comedian that he was and the old jester of this neighborhood before he really became the street's fool. And now he just kind of enters and, as a third wheel, saunters his way up towards Graham and Ruva.
And you would get a Gordon would give you a nod as he seems to be looking at anybody that's coming in through the front door. And when he sees you, unlike when he saw Morwen, he does look disappointed, but he nods nonetheless, being civil at the very least.
Perfect.
Because in all likelihood, anybody that Edmure has ever met, known, or passed by on the street has probably been propositioned for money at some point. And so if that's the overriding theory that we're going with, Gordon gives you a civil at best nod as you walk in.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say to flavor it more for Graham and for Ruva that have been in here for a little bit, and for Morwen. You would see at this point that somebody is starting to take the stage. They're not necessarily getting ready to play, but you see a human, maybe in their 30s. They have long, kind of curly, blackish, like very dark brown black hair that touches their shoulders. They're wearing very fine kind of purple jacket and kind of a dyed purple shirt. And there is a small halfling female who seems to be starting to set up a surprising set of drums. Everything from, very tall, like tribal drums to deep set steel drums. We're probably looking like a 15 to 20 piece drum set that is being set up and taking up about half of the small stage that is on here in the London's fog. But it looks like there's a performance that's going to begin probably within the hour. And other than that, the rest of the artisans and the poets and the writers pay little mind to this presentation or this beginning and construction of what will be some musicians later, as they are deep, deep within the creative process.
I imagine Edmer kind of awkwardly makes his way up and kind of nudges the shoulder of Graham.
Hey, buddy. Hope you're doing well.
Edmer.
Hey, it's me.
It's good to see you here.
Yeah, it's surprising to see you here as well.
Ruva, I'm like,
Oh,
we're just here for business.
Edmer.
Yeah, well,
Edmer.
hey, Rula. Yeah.
I thought you'd be busy today.
Oh yeah, you see, I was rather busy, but I took a look at the schedule and I changed some things around. I'm gonna probably stop over by the docks a little later, and I thought I'd swing by here, saw you walk by, thought I'd
That's so
you
great.
guys want a coffee? Anything? Tea? Huh? I'll go get it. You buy, I'll fly.
Where Ruva comes from, anyone can drink.
We were gonna have a real drink.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
all right, that's fine. I can have a real drink. Yeah.
That's on my chest. I'm a dragonborn,
Yeah.
so we're hairless.
You all right?
I'm
Why
smooth
you
like a
all strung up?
porpoise.
Listen, how about you wait over there? And I want to point just at any corner of the
Anywhere
room.
else.
just anywhere else. And I was like, why don't you wait over there? And we'll come find you later. You can make some friends, maybe, if that's what you do.
All right, I'll do it. I'll be right over here. All right, I'll see.
He walks
Greg,
off.
one thing before I forget is that we had some
Goodbye,
wild
I'm
magic
fine.
surges. We had some wild magic surges last week. I rolled in between and looked up for everyone, so we didn't have to go through this whole process now. So I got 2 of them. I teleport into the nearest leper colony at some point. That's going to happen. There's a colony of
Good.
lepers. I'm going to be
Good.
there. And I also exude a sense
Spoilers,
that it
though.
repels gnomes. I repel gnomes just with my scent. Maybe it's my dragonborn scent.
Mhm.
Edmer,
Secretions.
yeah, the secretions. It happens. Edmer asserts that he will die the next time he sleeps, which is probably just due to the drugs.
Yeah.
This is
That's
mostly
brilliant.
I'll die.
I'll just never
That's
sleep for the
good.
campaign.
And Edmer at
Oh,
some
that's
point
good.
will find a mirror that reflects only vampires. Normal people aren't reflected by it. Vampires are reflected in this mirror. And Morin got one, which was any coins in Morin's possession are gold plated. So that's kind of cool.
Plated.
Maybe like fake coins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is
Okay.
very convenient. Yeah, which is very convenient that we are going to segue into this real quick as we're doing a little housekeeping. I wanted to ask and make sure that I had the list of everybody's current gold allocation. And what we'll say
Apparently
is,
mine's garbage, so that's okay.
Garbo gold.
what we'll say is, you had 80 gold that you stole a week and a half ago with Val. We'll say that you still have it, but it turned out that 90% of it was fake. So you have 8 gold pieces that you were able to kind of glean from that adventure. So we'll give Morwen 8. What does everyone else have as far as if you don't have any, I will simply give you 10. So if you have more than 10, let me know. If not, I'm going
got
to
10.
give
I
you
don't
10.
have. I'll take
I've probably
10
got
silver.
10 like in a sock somewhere that Rivers made me keep secret from Edna.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
I would say. I'd
Or
have
am I
about-
that person who has gold?
And
Do you
Edmure,
have-
Am I
I'm
that
gonna
person who
put you-
has gold that I just don't spend?
Right, I think
just
it's just
have it
always
and I
going
just
out,
use
right?
other people's money.
And it's gone,
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll
Which is
put
also
you down with no.
pretty good.
No gold
Yeah,
for
let's go for no.
Edmure. Okay.
No.
Just wanted to check in on that before we got any further. Okay, so as you are all sitting in there, and as Edmure goes over to his corner for his timeout or whatever it would happen to be, and as the fun perhaps that Graham and Ruva were having is dulled and tempered a bit by all of this, Morwen, you're there for about 10 or 15 minutes, kind of just doing your sketching when you see Gordon kind of getting your attention. He's, not very subtle about it, as anybody that would be looking at him at this time would see him kind of trying to get you away from your sketchbook.
Okay, so I'm gonna put my sketchbook down. Is there a way that I can walk behind the bar to where he is?
Yes, he would allow you to come back behind the bar because you are basically a paper performance employee here and somebody that is well known to him. So yeah, absolutely, you can walk behind the bar.
So I'll walk behind the bar, pick up like the nearest teacup, and start to just clean it quietly. Yeah,
Okay.
What's wrong?
As you walk around the corner of the bar too, you notice that the lizard that you know as Jeff, cocks one eye and looks over much like a cat would, but with an intelligence far greater than that of even the most profound felines. The lizard eye looks at you for a second, it nods a bit and goes back and puts its head down, the cigarette still burning seemingly forever from between its lizardy lips. But as soon as you get back there, Gordon says, Jonesy, and you would know Jonesy as the owner of London's Fog.
Mhm.
Jonesy was supposed to be back like 5 hours ago, and he hasn't come back yet. And we got people coming here in about 2 hours that I don't want to talk to. So I'm getting a little worried. I can't leave. Is there any way I could see if you could find him?
Do you know where he went? I don't wanna
Yeah.
intrude on. Where did he go?
No, he just went. He went up to Castle Waterdeep. His boy Thomas is doing that goodwill thing down in Chult for the people that got hurt from the death curse. He's helping them come back. You know,
Hey.
and he goes there to pick up correspondence for him and a bunch of the other people that are down there and takes it around the city. But he's supposed to be there. He hasn't come back. He should have been back a long time ago. And this is sort of like above my pay grade, so I don't want to have to. I can't make decisions that are going to need to be made here in about 2 hours.
No,
I really need him here.
No, I get you. Yeah, no, I can go see if I can catch him up. I guess. I can go see if I can find him. And tell him to come back here, right? Because
Yeah. And he starts looking around London's fog, and he sees all of the artists and all of the like phony intellectuals, and his eyes settle on Ruva. Excuse me, and he kind of raises his voice, and Ruva, you see the bartender kind of motioning toward you, like politely, to see if you'll come over towards the bar.
Just the man we want to see. My friend here, Graham, would like a mead, as would I.
Absolutely. In fact, I can do you all one better. Everything we serve here, London's Fog, on the house. Plus, I think I can do this. I'll give Morwen. I don't know you two. I'll give you each 5 gold pieces. I don't know if you do this type of thing, but I need an errand kind of. I needed you guys to go to Castle Waterdeep and find my boss. I'm in big trouble here if I don't get somebody.
I do this kind of thing all the time for Edma. Yeah.
Okay.
I knew
great,
there was
great.
a catch.
But
So we
you don't have to. You can say no.
mead.
So you want us to? I'm sorry. I don't know you guys at all.
Whoa! What are you?
Oh, I know what you are. You're a little fish woman. Tritons, right?
You're a cowwoman. You're a tabaxi. That's so cool. It's like
What do you
being
mean so cool?
We used to tip you off your raft sometimes. It was the most fun. Probably
She doesn't
not
like it if you
you
scratch
guys.
pull her tail.
We used to. It was fun. You all used to laugh, and then we used to put you back on your rafts and push you back in the right direction. It was great, like away from us. You know.
That sounds great. But also
I think
disrespectful.
we should go. I am. Maybe. I don't know about this one. She seems
nice.
fishy.
So
She's really funny.
I actually find that really offensive, but okay, that's fine. I get it.
Gordon steps forward, and Morwen's behind the bar with him, and he says, "It's the only reason why I ask is I know that you all don't know each other. I don't think you two do, but I know you don't. It's kind of dangerous out there right now. There's a lot of like violence, so I thought if a group of you went, it would be safer, and probably a better chance of talking to the person I need you to talk to. So, you don't have to, but it would be."
I could kind of like flex my clawed hands out and just look at Morwen and just be like, so long as this Triton does not put me into the sea.
He's a dragonborn. You're a dragonborn. I've seen people like
Yeah.
you. You guys are
Me
really
too.
like you do stuff, right? And you like
No.
and then
Well,
and you.
I mean, my mom and dad
That's
can.
so cool. You yeah, no, you totally would keep me safe. That'd be great. Yeah, and we'll go find Jonesy.
Oh,
It'll
no.
be fine. It'll be
I got
alright.
it. You can
It's
keep
not
me
a
self
problem.
safe.
No.
Bring my uncle
This
Edmund.
one
He's
is not going anywhere.
You have an
without-
Uncle Edma? Is he like you?
Yeah.
Is he with the scales and the...
No. He's a human, but he's
How
a
is
really
he your
nice guy.
uncle? If he doesn't
Oh.
have scales, I don't understand.
I
Where
haven't
I
thought
come
about
from,
that.
we have scales, and all of us in the family have scales, and we don't tend to adopt anybody outside with scales because they're all inferior.
Your family
beings.
sounds great. I
No,
would love to meet them.
Okay, I don't think people without scales are inferior beings. Sir, yeah, you look great. You look great with your non-fish scales. You look. It's gonna be great. Don't worry. We're gonna go find him, and it's gonna be great. And I'm gonna link arms with Graham
is
like
just the
across the
best.
bar and like pull
This
him
is
in
the
across
best
the bar. And be
place
like,
for
you're gonna
Reba.
look after him, right? And it's gonna be great.
I'm just
What's
gonna
happening?
break their arms apart slowly and just be like, slow down, little fish. We are going to go all together. And if
a
you want
family.
to.
Yeah, with your uncle Edmund, the guy
Yeah.
with no scales.
Uncle
We
Edmund!
don't have to bring bread,
Uncle
Edmund.
Edmund!
You
Where's
don't
the
have-
Uncle
Remember.
Edmund?
Hey!
Over the last 30
what's
seconds.
up?
Right now, the last 30 seconds up to this point, Gordon's face tells the story that he made a terrible, terrible decision as he is sitting there watching you all argue, and then you guys call for Edmure, and he's like, you guys don't really. I mean, if you're
That's okay.
busy or something.
We can have 5 gold pieces
We'll
each.
do it,
All the
it's
time in
fine.
the house, and you'll have to like employ me all the time.
Uncle Edmund, look!
Did you say 5 gold?
I mean,
What? Wait. Back up
friend,
the
just for
conversation to me so I
them,
can
not
afford.
for you. I'm not gonna pay you any. You owe me
No,
money, but
I don't. What? No. We said we.
not
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
him.
I don't
Uncle
know what
Edmund's
you're talking
fine.
about.
Edmure,
He's
do you
pretty
owe
good
this
at
man
talking to
money?
people.
I think he looks okay. She's got no scales, and apparently she's okay too, despite her very demeanor.
I want these
so,
scales.
I don't see a problem.
She's really nice. She's like all like a tiger, and then on the inside, she's like a little kitty. It's
I just want to
just the
backhand.
best.
I just want to
She's like-
backhand her.
She's like my aunt,
Just cuff
Uh-huh.
him.
and you could be like my
I don't-
sister, or something.
Let's go find Jonesy. Okay, at the castle, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
Just take. He gives
What
you.
happens?
You see him. He signs a note real quick, and you see him hit it with like just the generic stamp of the London fog that they use for business, and he kind of heats it and stamps it real quick, and doesn't really make a show. He doesn't close it. You could read it if you wanted to, and he hands it to Morwen because she's the one that he knows the best, and says he just should be in Castle Waterdeep. Right out the weather's nice outside, so they should all be out in the courtyard. And anything that he's coming in there, that they bring in all the packages from the people in Chalt, and he's probably there just sorting and stuff. If you just kind of remind him what the time is, that we've got like 2 hours.
Yeah, of course.
back
Not
here.
a problem. Not
Thank
a
you
problem.
so
Then when do I
Go
get
ahead.
paid? And then the money's in our head.
What?
And then we
What
make
do you want,
money.
Edmure?
Edmure.
We get money.
just-
We're getting 5 gold. I heard 5 gold, and how do I get the 5 gold?
Uncle Edmund, excuse me, Uncle Edmund. Uncle Edmund.
I.
Hello?
Who-
Yes, you. Hi,
Why is
Uncle Edmund.
why is he calling me uncle? What is it? How are you? What are you?
She
She's like my
thinks we're
sister,
all
so you're her
related.
uncle too.
It's
What?
it's the small magical one. He thinks what your Uncle Edmund. Anyway, Uncle Edmund, are you ready to go? We gotta go. We don't have time for this.
Little one, it's Edmure.
Edmund.
Edmund.
I don't like
Edmund.
that as much, but I'll go with it. Okay.
What? And what's your name, little fish?
My name's Marwin. Marwin.
Wow, that's such a cool name.
Marvin.
Thank you. It means things in Primordial, but I'm never sure what because I didn't really. I do know a bit.
I can look it up at the library for you if you want.
No, it's okay. No, it's fine.
We
You
could,
don't
like,
need
go
look
to the
at
library
Primordial. We
sometime.
don't have time to go to
Gordon,
the
We're
we don't-
going to go.
We could go now.
We're going.
What about you, stressed cat lady? What's your name?
Ruva. It doesn't stand for
Ruva.
anything that you care about. Let's go.
Okay, I'm excited. Let's go.
Yes.
Great.
And so, like, I'll just kind of drag Graham kind of by the head, and then I'll pick up Morwin kind of by the head because they're both tiny, and I'll just kind of drag them along with me.
I just squeal excitedly as she grabs my head.
That's
All right,
the
before we,
common thing I do with
hold on.
Graham.
Before we leave, could I get a drink before we decide on
You
drink?
hear that we have time? You
Before we
did
go?
not. On your feet.
Edmer, there's water at the pier.
right.
Let's go.
It's hot.
Edmure,
Okay, look.
Edmure, if you help them, and they say that you help them, that they come back and they say that Edmure, boy, what a big help he is. I will give you a drink for free. You hear?
I can guarantee
But I'm not
going to say that.
No,
Edmund,
Don't open
Edmund,
it.
we wouldn't lie to
he
you.
points at Ruva. If she says that you were a help, she says you were a help, I'll give you a free drink. The only way, Edmure, I'm not
It's
gonna-
not a hard bargain. All right, Gordon. All right, you guys. All right. Good. No respect
Okay.
at
I
all.
feel like
Alright.
you need cycles.
Edmund doesn't get any respect.
At all.
Why doesn't Uncle Edmund have subtitles?
He's just
It's sucked.
working on it. Let's go. It hasn't been translated
I
yet.
transcribed for him afterwards.
You did not understand what I said?
As you guys are all heading towards out, because Morwin was behind the bar when you guys were talking, Morwin, just as you are starting to leave, or before you kind of come into Ruva's proximity, where she grabs you and Graham and leads you out, as soon as you pull away from Gordon leans into you and says, no matter what he says, no matter what Edmure says, do not give him a dime. You haven't done a copper piece. Do you understand? Not a copper. You'll never see it again.
Oh. Okay. I hope he's not.
He'll give you a really sad story. It'll be like the saddest story you've ever heard, or he'll tell you need shoes or something. A lot of shoes, he says, but don't ever listen to him. Just like keep your hands in your pockets.
Don't humans need shoes? I thought humans needed shoes.
They
He looked down
do.
at like Graham's feet. He's not wearing any shoes.
I don't understand shoes, but okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, and do you want to go? I like tapping
No
her.
shoes.
Wanna go?
Okay, no shoes for Uncle Edmund. Let's go.
Let's go. Where are we going?
He's wearing shoes.
Okay, so as you guys pop out of London's fog, which is in the trades ward of Waterdeep, you have to cross basically the width of the City of Splendors towards Mount Waterdeep, and at its base is Castle Waterdeep in the Castle Ward. And as you guys kind of leave the area, you are gifted with the same beautiful day that you saw when you walked into the London's fog, as it is a crystal clear sky. The breeze that is coming off of the Sword Sea is giving you very little marine layer, very little clouds, as it is a perfect day in this, what would be fall in the Forgotten Realms. And as you all are walking, and everybody knows the city well enough to know exactly where the prominent landmark like Castle Waterdeep is, you make your way straight towards that area. And as you are kind of passing through some of the more heavily traveled streets, you see that there is a bit of a log jam as people are crossing the street, and some of them leaving this street entirely, as before you, roped off, seems to what looks like some type of event has occurred, and not a planned event. It looks like there's been several acts of violence in this area, as you see several members of the uniformed city watch that are kind of standing around at the edge of this roped off area, kind of keeping people away. Over in one side, there's some people that are interviewing. You can see them asking questions of common folk and artisans and traders that seem to be kind of pointing at what you see as 6 blanketed forms that are lying in the streets Each of the blankets are not all white or not all black, but the ones that are lighter colors have stains on them right around the chest or head area. And as you walk forward, you see this scene.
Could I, upon seeing this, could I take a look around and see if there's anyone kind of shady looking around on the outside? Like people who, I'm sure there are people who are looking kind of curious, but anyone who maybe is like trying not to be seen.
Absolutely. Roll me a perception check.
Okay. Yeah, it's still not working. Okay. Seriously, a 5 again? Okay, 7.
You look around, and while Waterdeep is a very densely populated area, and this is one of the heavier arteries of the city, when you look around, you don't see anybody that seems to be kind of watching but trying not to watch. Your gaze even goes so far as to take in some of the lower rooftops to see if somebody's kind of peering down. You don't catch anybody giving it the eye or looking anymore. There's a lot of rubberneckers here that appear to be like morbidly curious. But beyond that, you don't see anybody that you would kind of identify as rough or tumble.
Okay. I guess like just from my sheer size, I'll just kind of push through some of the crowd to move forward, bringing the rest of the team with me.
What's going on, Ruva?
No.
Why are they in blankets?
No.
You sleeping?
No, don't.
In a way, just wait
Forever.
here for a second.
They're sleeping
Is
forever.
it in the way of us getting to this to the castle? Is it like
It's definitely,
Is it blocking
yeah, if
the
you guys
street?
can. It is in a way. It's wide enough, and they've cordoned off a large enough area that it's almost as if the flow of traffic has trickled down to where you would have had, say, 100% of the street to use. You now have about 20%. So you're either kind of looking at the scene or being funneled through a very narrow area to the left. But as you kind of push forward, and with your height, you kind of loom over a lot of the other commoners that are looking in at this area. And just as you push forward, and maybe just as Graham says, what's going on? Are they sleep? Above you all, you hear this like, as this huge cry goes over, and you see one of the Griffin Riders of Waterdeep, as it's like very low, just maybe 3 or 4 stories above, creeps over, and you notice now that there are 2 of them that seem to be flying and kind of taking turns patrolling and circling this area. The Griffin Riders are homed and housed in Mount Waterdeep, and for all intents and purposes, they are the equivalent of like a helicopter for today's police force. So you see that 2 of them have been called in as this area is being looked at. But you make it all the way, Ruva. You're able to kind of like pierce the crowd up to the actual line. And upon seeing your size, one of the City Watch kind of raises a hand real quick. But seeing that you're not trying to proceed in, quickly lowers it and looks around for somebody smaller.
I'll just I'll look down at him and be like, what has happened here?
He looks back at you for a second, and he's, who are you?
Who am I? I'm a concerned citizen.
There are plenty of concerned citizens around. So there's been an accident. The City Watch is handling it.
Fine. And I'll just be like, come on. And I'll kind of keep
What's
trying
the
to push
incident?
through, I guess.
Are we going to the castle?
So
We can
as
still get there.
Griffin
Yeah.
moves to one side, I'm going to push against the guard, look over his shoulder, and sort of go, "Oh no! Oh my goodness! Oh, I had a friend coming this way, and I haven't heard from him in about 2 hours. Oh my
Oh
goodness!
my
what
God,
the
that's
heck?
terrible.
I'm so frightened."
Oh, I like her. Yeah, keep doing it. Keep doing that. Yeah.
I'm
Waterworks.
gonna
Whoa,
keep like
wait.
pushing into this garden, like popping my hands over him, like, "What's
Oh,
happening?
God.
You must tell me."
okay.
Oh, that's terrible. Is he serious?
This is
Calm down.
perfect. Okay, yeah.
Whoa,
Oh, you've made her sad.
just calm down, everybody, all right? I mean,
Oh, I'm feeling sad.
I think we demand an explanation.
I don't
Why is everyone shouting?
This tall with brown hair, brown eye. I'm so worried. Please, what's happening here?
I'm worried too.
You can tell that this guy has absolutely no bedside manner when it comes to being a member of the City Watch. He's trying a bit, I'm sure this is nobody that you know. Roll a persuasion check for me.
Yep. Sure thing, Dingling. Doop. That is a 22.
Okay, so for a moment, as he's saying this, he looks at Morwen and his eyes kind of relax a bit, visibly kind of weaken around the corners, and it's an absolute poker face tell of somebody that is not able to show that he is attracted to somebody without showing that he is attracted to somebody. No, calm down, milady. I can help you. What does your friend look like? He's ignoring everybody else.
I just want to know what happened. He's been missing for a good couple of hours, and he was coming this way. When did this happen?
This just happened about a half hour ago. Maybe a full hour, not less than that. It's gang related. These are gang members in here. At this point, too, everybody that's not Mormon, you can all roll perception checks with advantage because this guy's not trying to block your view anymore. He is completely allowing you to.
Oh, net 20.
Can I?
Nice.
Could I? When she started freaking out, that's when Edmer was like,
Oh yeah. Keep doing that. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Perfect.
and then I kind of like sneak away and then try to go loot some of these bodies, pretty stealthily, but I mean, like, everybody can see me do it, but I'm trying to keep away from that guard from seeing.
And it's like, oh.
Okay, if you're keeping away from that
And I got a 21 there.
Did you roll stealth? Or you pro... Okay, roll me a stealth. And don't roll it with advantage, just roll regular stealth as... and roll me an intimidation, too, if you could.
Okay, so intimidation is a -2. Perfect. Good.
Okay, good.
So the intimidation is a 7. What that is.
So your stealth, you're able to kind of get under the rope and get into the area. And for everybody that's not Morwen, we had a natural 20 and a dirty 20, I believe. As you, Ruva, as you and Graham are just kind of fixated on the scene now, you both clearly see Edmure as he goes under the ropes.
Approaches.
And walks directly into the scene. What else you see is kind of hunched over one of the bodies that's closer to you, one of the sheeted bodies. You see a Kenku who's wearing like a long, tan jacket, and he seems to have when he turns to look, he's got a cigar that is put into one of the the nares, the nostril cuts inside of his beak. It's kind of just jammed in there, and you see it glowing every once in a while as this Kenku is kind of looking at the bodies. And as soon as Edmure crosses the line, the rest of them are kind of looking at the crowd in general, but this Kenku looks up and locks eyes with Edmure as he walks into the scene. And you see this kind of smaller Kenku stand up, its black feathers ruffled as its beak kind of comes out to a sinister point, and that glow of the cigar that's kind of jammed in the beak kind of pulses in an ember as he locks eyes with Edmure. And that's what you guys see. In addition to that, you see that one of the other people kind of in the back that's indicating the bodies, you're both able to perceive them going, Xanathar, Xanathar, right? And the other one, yeah, that's right. As they're marking stuff down in what appears to be kind of like a collected notes. And it looks like they're identifying maybe what faction these 6 bodies belong to.
Edmund! Back here. No.
What's going on? Why is Warren so
And, like I duck down and I try to I remove like maybe some of the blanket to see their face. Give them a judge. If they look like they're rich, I just kind of toss it back over their face, and then I walk over to the other one, or I try to sneak over to the other one, and I do the same thing. And then one of them I may try to lift some coin off of, depending if they look rich. If they don't, then I just come back to the crowd. But I'm literally judging them, and if they look like nobles, I will check for money.
Wait, so does Edmund not see this Kenku?
No, he doesn't care.
Oh, no. Oh, we're off to a good
It's a little bit of A and a little bit of B.
Good.
So when this is going on, let's cut to Morwen real quick. As completely engrossed as this officer of the city watch with the Triton before him. Listen, this is just it's gang violence. Your friend's not in a gang, are they?
You would have a friend in a gang, would you? I thought you were nice.
I don't know. How would I know if he was in a gang?
Sometimes people get wrapped up in these things. You know, Edward.
Graham, be quiet.
I'm so sorry. I talk when I'm nervous.
I'm just gonna put Graham up on my shoulders and just kind of keep him away from Morwen for a second.
You got a hellacious view of everything, Graham, as you are like 10 feet in the air at this point. Morwen, the officer leans in. Now, this gentleman you're looking for, is this a boyfriend or your husband?
No, we were friends. I was hoping that... Oh, God.
You married? I want to meet your husband.
Graham!
Sorry. Look, how would I have known? I don't know what... I'm
How could you have known? Right, this is an impossibility. I tell you what, this is all. I wouldn't worry about it at all. These are all. Is your friend just a friend? Is this just a friend? Like young? Is he a young person?
I don't like where this is going, sir. I don't like.
She also doesn't like labels.
Are those people dead?
Graham!
Yeah, kid, they're dead.
He's dead. Oh no!
No, wait, no.
Oh my God! Your husband is dead.
Denver goes.
Yeah.
As this is devolving into a Scooby-Doo Three's Company
so
moment.
confused.
Let's go over to Edmure. Edmure, as you kind of look at, like, you lift up one and look in, and you see like a very young half-elven female. She seems to have still the remnants, a snapped-off crossbow bolt in her throat. And as you kind of look around and start pulling over the other, you go for like your second sheet to pull. You see that the Kenku, the feathered kind of clawed feet of the Kenku, are on the other side of this body. And if you so choose to look up and lock eyes, you could do so. If not, you're still going to hear. Now, what are you doing there?
I was just, you know, I think this was you see the fish lady over there. She's crying about she wanted all these were right. She wanted all. Oh, yeah, it's all right. She wanted him. She's wanted to see if this was her friend. So I was just doing her a favor.
I see the fish lady. And you hear the sing-song of the voice as different words seem to be mimicked from different sources. What you need to tell me is, why are you here?
I was seeing if this was her friend, sir. Or madam.
You're not an officer of the law.
Correct? Yeah, no, I'm not. So, I'll, make my way,
He allows you to go, but you can tell that the eyes of this bird, as this pulse of the cigar stuck in his beak has marked the face of Edmure. And as they go over, these eyes of this detective also mark the faces of the fish woman that he pointed to, as if he is committing them all to memory. But you are on the other side of the rope.
Oops.
Also, quick note:
Perfect.
Pope has cheered to give Ruva a magic item. Thank you, my friend.
Oh,
Yay!
thank you, Pope.
Nice.
I have just the thing.
Ooh.
A cigar.
A silencing orb.
Yeah. That would
An orb
help.
of complete silence.
So
An orb of
as you guys are
control,
sitting there,
Edmure.
you see that as soon as Edmure and as with the prior perception checks, as Graham and Ruva are kind of sitting there in disbelief, having absorbed the scene in front of you, you see Edmure as he talks with this Kenku and then goes back under the rope as he leaves the crime scene. And you also see that the eyes of this Kenku follow him and Mark Morwin.
Okay, so
What's that?
as Edmure comes back over the ropes, I'm going to grab him by his shoulder and drag him in as close as possible and sort of cry on his shoulder. I think he's gone. I think that was a misopinion. We should go.
I'm also going to grab Edmure's other shoulder and just squeeze. Just hard enough that
You got it.
Yeah.
Roll me
You can have it here.
a wisdom saving throw to see if you can control yourself in the power with which you squeeze Edmure's shoulder.
Sure.
Oh, wisdom save.
Squeeze had some history.
First 10 minutes, break
God.
someone's shoulder.
A wisdom
Yep,
save.
kills
Okay, that's a 4. 13. Wait,
He
what?
just dies.
Does it not? Why did it not work?
Snaps.
Rectals.
That's a 4.
Okay, so Edmure, you feel not pressure, not a presence. You feel the third P, pain, as perhaps the claws pop a bit. Perhaps there is a lack of control that one wouldn't really expect a barbarian to possess. No offense, but as Ruva grabs hold and moves you away, you have 4 pinpricks of blood on your shoulder as the claws pierce through your clothing and mark you for movement. You guys eventually can filter through the area and proceed on your way to Castle Waterdeep.
Whoa, wait, whoa. Okay,
I'm not even gonna say
Get
anything.
off me.
I'm just
you
gonna
were
keep
in there, right?
holding.
Warren, I'm
you
so
were in there,
sorry.
right? No. Oh, you think I'm being serious? Oh, sweet pea.
What?
No.
What?
Graham,
But wait.
she was making jokes.
Oh,
So
that was
I could work
was
out
funny.
what was going on.
No, not that
yeah.
kind of joke.
No,
Oh.
I was playing
Yeah.
pretend to try and work out what was going on. I was being a bit tactical, you know? Sometimes you gotta...
Oh, you're like an
Sometimes you
actor.
That's the one. There you go.
I wrote a play.
That was
I'm gonna
pretty
write a
good.
play about.
Pretty good stuff.
I'd love to read it if I ever live through meeting
Yeah,
you.
there's this
That'd
little
be great.
community theatre. They rejected everything I've given so far, but maybe they would like that.
It was a good one. Just, it will be better even next time.
Yeah, they all end with happy endings, but they don't like that all the time. They say it needs more drama, but I just want everyone to be happy, and yeah. But maybe I could use.
Oh,
like,
you talking about that place around the corner?
No, I don't have a
The
dead
place the corner around the rub?
Can we please, hey, can we go get Jonesy so that we can crack on? Because I really don't. There's somebody gonna be waiting for me back at the cafe, and I need to go pick him up later. So
A
can
husband?
we please hurry up? No.
Graham, she doesn't have husband.
Do you think I would get married?
No.
Hello, have you seen me?
Fish spinster.
yeah.
Look at her.
Sorry, what? Uncle Edmund?
And
You wanna
I'll
say that
squeeze
louder?
just a little harder.
Uncle Edmund?
Hey!
Look, please. I have somewhere to be this evening. Please.
Graham's like, I don't see why you wouldn't be married. You could have like 2 husbands.
That's really great. And I'm sure maybe one day I'll think about it. But right now I really want to go and get so that I can go and meet my friend.
Yeah, my mom and dad say I should get married, but
I don't recommend it personally, but you know, that's whatever. Let's look, please.
yeah. Okay.
Just at that point, there are 2 sisters that walk by from some unnamed deity, and they get into your proximity just in time for Graham to say, "You could have 2 husbands," and they immediately turn and walk like in a perpendicular manner away from you all to avoid any further kind of conversation.
I'm really sorry. He doesn't understand how relationships works. I think he's only like 6 years old. Please excuse him.
They walk faster.
Bye.
Okay, we gotta
Yes.
go.
Blessings
You all
upon
talk too
you.
much.
Yeah.
You all talk so much.
Yeah.
Let me go
Yeah,
find Jones.
My dad talks
hey.
a lot about divorce, but I don't understand any of it.
Hey, Tabaxi, you want to hear about the time that I pushed a cat, like a little cat, off a raft, and then she couldn't get out for a little while, but it was okay because we played with dolphins afterwards.
No. And I'll just keep walking.
I feel like we heard the whole story with it. What else is there to tell?
No, there was more to it, Uncle Edmund. See, there was... I'm going to, like, grab his arm
okay.
and start walking along.
Great.
Tell him about 6 different kinds of coral. So walking along.
Perfect.
Has Ruva, have you let go of him by now? Has Edmure been released?
I'm
Yeah, it's
still
probably for the
just
best.
claws in, like dragging.
We're almost all walking along together.
Well,
Yeah,
Graham's
you guys
on my
are like a big
shoulders.
red rover. Right.
Yeah.
Arms a link,
If anything, he's like
skipping
slightly
down
behind.
the yellow
and I'm
brick
just-
road, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys in your very awkward kind of arrangement, you make your way to Castle Waterdeep, and Castle Waterdeep is open to the public as like the grounds of the actual fortress proper. It's the home of what would be law enforcement here in Waterdeep. As the City Watch, the Town Guard, everybody, the Griffin Riders, they all kind of report to this area. And it's also anytime that there is a forced conscription or a draft or a mustering of nobles from inside Waterdeep that kind of form an exterior army, much like the expeditionary force that was sent down to Chult. It is also kind of housed here. It's a headquarters that serves many different purposes, but because it's so large and it is open, you walk in and it has the feel of a very large like police station mixed with a military base, where there are a lot of commoners going through here, a lot of townsfolk, but they're being attended to very rapidly and efficiently by the City Watch and the military professionals and the military officers that are in this area. One thing you will notice without the need for a roll, as soon as you guys walk into the main grounds proper, that there is what looks like an execution just getting ready to go on. There is a large kind of gallows that has been erected. There is a crowd of people standing around, and for a moment, when it looks like it's getting towards the moment of death or the moment of execution, everyone stops, and as is kind of the policy here in Waterdeep, despite somebody's past lives, when somebody's life is taken from them, even for a crime, they all kind of pause and bear witness to the end. And as you all are walking in, the bell chimes by the executioner's aid, and before the rope is pulled, you have about a 10-second beat as you all just seem to happen to run in here right when the execution's about ready to take place. You have about 10 seconds.
Oh dear.
I'll just be like, I'll look over at Graham and just be like, look away, little one.
Okay. Like,
Yeah.
Or
And
you
I'll,
can look
I'll-
at me. It'll make you stronger.
and,
Okay.
And I'll watch the execution, but I'll stand still.
Yeah.
Kind of like in a soldier's pose.
Morwen would stand to watch
Oh, this is
too,
gonna be
because she's going to
good.
put
I know
her
what he did.
hand over Graham's eyes.
Okay. Graham, do you allow yourself to be blindfolded
Absolutely.
by. I had to ask, but I was pretty sure I knew what the answer was going to be. So as
My hand's kind of
Morwen,
wet like a fish.
yeah, as Morwen blinds or protects Graham, and as Ruva stands formally and with respect, what's Edmure doing?
He's going to paint a word picture of what's happening to Graham while it's
So
happening.
he's doing like a play-by-play. Great. Okay. So as the play-by-play is continuing, you all will see a middle-aged woman being taken up there, and you're catching the very end. For the crimes of murder against the fellow citizens of Waterdeep, we have sentenced you to death. And the entire time, there's like 4 members of her family that are crying, and there's a small boy. No, it can't be her. She isn't. She's just my mother. And everyone's just kind of shouting out how this couldn't possibly be. And as her head is fitted into the noose, for a moment, and I'd like everyone to roll a perception check that's looking. So that would be Morwen, that would be Ruva, and that would be Edmure.
12 for me.
Only 7.
14.
Edmure, as she gets up there and the noose is fitted around her neck, there is no benefit of an executioner's hood or cowl. Her eyes meet yours. And just as the count of 10 goes off and the final bell sounds from the executioner's aid, the pull is done and the trapdoor sounds as the gallows releases. She falls to an audible wet snap. If this is described to Graham, your words do not do it justice, as the sound itself will travel to his unencumbered or unshielded ears. But you also bear witness to the fact that when she falls and her neck snaps, you see a spectral apparition rise from the corpse immediately at the moment of death. It is very well defined, to the point where it looks almost as real as the woman from which it just breathed and smoked out of. And for those of you that are watching, Morwen, Ruva, and Edmure, roll an intelligence check for me, please, as you are all citizens of Waterdeep.
As we are. Good guess.
17.
12 for me.
12 for me too.
Okay, so Edmure is perhaps the senior citizen of Waterdeep. You notice that this body, as you have a perfect view of it, when this spectral image rises from the just executed woman, you know that this is none other than where do I have her name? This is none other than Agnes Trotter, who is was a mass murderer about 2 years ago in the city of Waterdeep. She killed maybe 6 or 7 nobles, and she was eventually drugged down, and she was drawn and quartered in this very square for her crimes against the city and against the sons and daughters of Waterdeep. And as you see her and she sees you, you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you may even have known Agnes Trotter, as she is someone that would have traveled in your circles, as she lived the life of a homeless woman who targeted these nobles for stealing her wealth, though they did not. And the ghost floats there as people begin to scream.
Other people can see the ghost?
Everyone can see it. You've identified her.
Yeah, I guess I'm doing the play-by-play, and then then I guess when I sort of identify her, when she like looks at me, and then it happens. I guess as soon as the snap happens, I stop doing the play-by-play, and I'm kind of like in a little bit of shock because I've recognized that person, and we may have had a couple conversations. We may have also traded some like trade secrets on how to get money and how to rob people, or even she'll maybe let me in on a couple of her secrets, and as I let her in on a couple of mine. But yeah, and then now like Edmer's kind of out of character now as he's kind of like watching because maybe he saw himself possibly being up there in due time, and that kind of worried him.
And with that worry, as it bleeds across your face, the ghost of Agnes Trotter, seemingly ignoring the cries as the executioner moves back, the executioner's aide drops the bell as the friends and family and a few of the guard kind of step forward as those that were all bearing witness now realize that there was a threat beyond the flesh of this woman. And Edmure, as she turns and meets your gaze, you hear creep into your mind, Edmure. And she begins to drift towards you.
Yeah,
We all see him and
that's
see this
a-
ghost drifting towards our direction.
That's a
You
ghost.
all see this as people begin to just flee and split as this specter floats off the gallows, drops about 2 or 3 feet above the cobblestones, and begins to drift forward. And you hear various bells and cries of alarm going up as yells for priests and get the clerics go up as people realize that an undead, which is very serious in a place as concentrated as Waterdeep, has been introduced not only inside the city, but inside the very walls of Castle Waterdeep itself. But it's ignoring Ruva, it's ignoring Morwen, it's ignoring Graham, and it's focusing and drifting strictly and straight for Edmure.
Edmure.
Edmer's probably crouched over, whispering, and then he kind of stands up and is now kind of staring in that shock.
I'm going to
Yeah.
unshoulder my harpoon and kind of stand between the ghost and Edmer. Almost like readying my weapon.
Okay. Anybody else doing anything?
I was gonna say, I don't
I'm
know
not
how I
high
feel
enough for
about
this.
Ghosts.
Ghosts is scary. I'm going to stand behind Ruva.
Uh,
I take out a
That
small
ghost is
vial.
coming for us. Like I'll kind of just get my thing ready.
so, I've got a rapier to hand, but I'm gonna point at Edmure and message Edmure to ask that he can hear me okay.
You would hear that in your ear.
Edmer says, I'm not high enough for this, and he takes out a small vial, and as he's drinking the vial, he messages or sends back another, I guess, a response, yes.
Yeah, what?
As he downs the vial, and then
Oh,
Now, to paint the scene for everybody, as you are all standing there and as Edmure downs whatever it is that he has downed, as the commoners are fleeing the area and the military is stopping or advancing slowly on the area, there's just almost a maelstrom of bodies that are leaving this place, brushing past you all and heading towards the gates that you just came through. And as all of this is happening, I would like Graham and I would like Morwen to roll a perception check for me.
Sure thing. Do-do-do.
Perception.
Think. Oh, come on. That's a 9.
7 for me.
Okay.
So much happening.
Morwen, as you're sitting there and all of this is going on, all of a sudden you see a human female brush past you but stop. And as she stops, you feel something being pressed into your left hand. She locks eyes with you for a moment. And as she locks eyes, it looks as if she's getting ready to say something. And you see an arrow take her right through the front of her jugular, like just spouting and spraying blood over your face as you bear witness to the end of this person. Because of your perception check, you did not see where this shot came from. And as she looks, you can still see as the bubbles kind of come out from her throat and pop, at various points that she's trying desperately to tell you something, but instead she uses the last of her energy to take your left hand and what she put into it and curl your own fingers around it, and she squeezes it as she slips to the ground. No one else has seemed to notice.
I quietly take a look at it without disrupting it what anybody else is doing.
Yeah, you can crouch down amongst the traveling chaos that's going on around here. Sure thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you kind of have this happen, no one else bears witness to it, Graham, no one else sees it. You are kind of spattered with blood, and as you kneel down and as the girl leaves this place and you open your hands, you see a rough-cut ruby in your left hand. So rough to the point where it's still carrying like residual stone on the outside from presumably whence it was mined, but you can see it, and it does have several sides that are clearly faceted, clearly like gleamed, and it almost holds a light on the inside of it. Let's cut back though to everybody that is facing a ghost as it comes forward. Edmure, you hear over in your mind, you hear the message come in from Morwen that you keep hearing. Edmure, do you remember me?
Edmure says out loud,
Yeah. I remember you, Agnes.
And the perfect visage of this woman begins to elongate as the jaw becomes pointed and opens to well beyond the stretch of a human maw, and the teeth grow long, and she says, "Say my name."
I want to throw my harpoon at her once I see the maw.
Let's roll some
open up.
initiative. Yep.
Oh my god!
well, in that case,
Yep.
I scream a little bit. It's my turn. Yup. It's an 8 for Graham.
Oh, that's a 6.
that's a 5. Which makes sense. Narratively.
And Morwen, you can roll initiative for me. What did you get? A 14? Great. Okay, the ghost takes the rest of its movement to glide from the gallows, and it is directly in front of Ruva. As it stands in front of you, its form kind of elongating at the shoulders, remaining tapered at the waist, but that face opens and stretches into an almost like a canine maw as it's standing there, and you can hear it. Despite it being very loud for Edmure, everyone can hear the "say my name" over and over again. And as she comes forward, she is going to take what looks to be a moving action. Does a 13 hit your armor class?
Nope.
Okay.
That's a miss.
So you see it as she comes forward, this hand isn't formed enough yet, as it kind of stretches and the fingers creep a bit, and it goes lazily above her head as you're kind of able to skip out of it, but you see as if she's preparing to do something else, that you are more of an annoyance. And so we're going to drop down to Morwen. Morwen, what do you want to do right now?
I don't know. Can I? Can I go for some vicious mockery?
Sure.
Neat.
What's the save on that one?
I'm just taking it now. Wiz 13.
That's a natty 1, so I don't believe that that's going to...
God.
It's got some of that psychic damage. Yep.
Yep. That's a
Rough.
1d4. 1d4. Let's go. Let's go. Do the thing. Do good. Yeah!
Nice. So what do you say to viciously mock a ghost?
Don't know. But it's got to be something scathing along the lines of saying somebody's name when they're not even there. Why? Why would we speak to you when you're not even there?
You can see that the power of the psychic words or the blast affects it more than your taunt. Or perhaps it's the other way around, as the head shakes and the creature reorients itself. As we drop down to Graham. Graham, what would you like to do?
I see Ruva in trouble and my new friend Morwin, and I get out a tiny little dagger that Edmer has given to me. It's in my boot, or maybe Ruva has. I'm gonna and stab at the ghost. So I'm gonna give that a go, and that is a. Oh come on! I rolled a 20. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I came for it. Dirty 20.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, and as you kind of pass through the area, go ahead and roll damage, as we're going to say that this is a bit of a homebrew ghost, as we're... Okay, for another 4 damage.
4 points of damage. Ah! I just scream after I do it.
It doesn't feel as if it bit into, like if you had stabbed Edmure or Ruva or somebody, but it feels like it grabbed something. You're not quite sure what it was, though. Let's drop down to Ruva. Ruva, this thing is right in front of you and took a swipe at you.
All right, I'm gonna just throw my harpoon straight through her, like just almost like stab it through, and kind of, while holding the chain, let it go, and just try to get it through the stomach of this ghost.
Absolutely.
So I gotta roll to hit. So that's a +5 to hit. So that's a 24. Nice.
Yeah, go ahead and roll that damage as you throw it right through the midsection.
You gotta go get it.
2d6s, so... okay, 7 damage.
Nice. And again, even as you throw it, and you can kind of feel that the chain doesn't it usually would stick much sooner than that, and you'd be able to retrieve with the chain, but it goes completely through it, and you feel very little resistance. There's some, but it's not nearly as much as when you've hit flesh and blood. And are you going to retrieve it with your bonus action? Pull your harpoon back through?
Yeah, I'm going to use my bonus action to bring it back. So it's a strength check. We didn't decide what the cap for that was for the strength check.
Yeah, the strength check is only if it holds purchase, and right now it doesn't have anything. You can easily pull it back. It went through the creature and dropped to the ground, so you just rip it back. As Ruva throws the harpoon, it goes through the ghost, and you jerk it back with the chain back into your waiting grasp for your next attack. As we go down to Edmure, and the creature, the ghost, is staring right at you. And for a moment, through the wails and the growls, you hear a whisper. And it says, Edmure, say my name.
Edmer takes, he's pretty high at this point. He takes out the bone, the scrimshod bone sword, the whale rib that Ruva had gifted him, and as he draws it, I don't want it to sound cheesy, but there you start to see veins of fire sort of glow underneath the what would be the hilt of the sword, as Edmer kind of in a stare winds back in this drunken sort of fighting style, and then as she gets closer and says, say my name, he just with this very not very artistic lunge, but just this very reckless swipe through the ghost as he does and then says, of course, Well, let's do the damage first, and then says her name. Spoilers, he's going to say her name. So it's going to be, I believe it's plus... Perfect, yeah. So with a 7.
As you
Strong.
spin and
Strong 7.
as you spin an attack, you miss the area as the ghost that you were aiming for is wider than the real ghost. It's a hazy perception smear that you're usually able to, overcome, but in this specific state you can't. And then the blow falls harmlessly to the side, and you say what?
And I just go, Agnes. And he just says Agnes as he swipes recklessly.
And perhaps Ruva has the best view as the ghost turns and looks up into the crystal clear blue sky of Waterdeep. And you see it begin to fragment from the chest as it pixelates and drifts away on the sea wind, borne to wherever it was meant to go. And just before it becomes completely incorporeal, you see that it looks at all of you, and then its eyes drift to Edmure, and it nods and vanishes.
Edmure slowly, in like this weird shock, thinks... I think he kind of thinks he hit I mean, he swung way wide. But he kind of tries to, in like this weird drunken flourish, put his sword back in the ring around his belt as he rests his hand on the bone hilt as if he was like a drunken musketeer.
Huh? Huh?
At this point, we're out of combat as all of you stand there retrieving weapons, getting your stance about you as the city watch runs up. Several priests kind of bleed out of the castle proper, descending upon the area as you see griffin riders that have been summoned via message spell begin to dive bomb the area looking for this ghost. And many of them bear witness to Edmure's final strike, and that the 4 of you have stood up against this ghost and defeated it, seemingly with no relation other than bravery. And several of the guard come forward, and with nods of respect, you can see that each of them note the very unique combination of individuals in front, from the Dragonborn to the Triton to the Tabaxi to the human with no respect, as they go back and forth and they nod. And a woman steps forward, seeming to hold a higher rank than the others around. And she says, "Well fought. Why are you here?" "Thank gods you are."
We're looking for a friend of mine. He should have been around here. He's Jonesy. He runs the London Fog, down just a few streets away. His son, you might know his son.
Thomas, yes. Jonesy left hours ago.
No,
He said he was going back to the London's Fog.
No, Jonesy's been here.
I'm sorry. He went
Little
back to
one I-
London's Fog.
No.
I don't think he's here, little one.
When did you say he left?
I don't. I last saw him 5 hours ago. It was before noon, before midday.
And he was going.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to ask.
What did
I
you say?
really am. I just.
No. Do you suspect something is wrong? We can. All of us
He
know
hasn't-
Jonesy. We will. We will go
He hasn't been
look.
back to the fog. He hasn't been back to the fog, and I'm.
We were sent
I
to
tell you
find him.
Is this real or are you acting again? Because I just saw a ghost, so I don't know what's real.
This is
The
definitely-
woman looks over for a moment and just kind of nods to you. She seems to hold a little bit more empathy than would your traditional officer, as she gives Graham a moment to, no, I am real. I am real. No, well fought, young Dragonborn.
Oh yeah.
And she looks, stabbed a ghost. Today is an interesting day for you. And she turns back to Morwen. Go back to London's fog. We will look for him. I will send out 20 of my men. We'll ride until we find him. Between here and there, I'll send the riders. And she points up to the sky as the Griffin riders kind of over the top. And we'll find him. He is a friend to us. We will find him.
I appreciate it a great deal. There's been some trouble on the road here, and I'm concerned.
Yes, the least I can do for you all. And you see her tap her ear, and she points up to one of the griffins in the sky, and you see her like whisper, you see her lips move, and one of the griffins kind of pulls forth and begins to circle around the area, and she turns and says, he will follow you until you are back safely at the London's fog. There is trouble on the streets. That is true. We will find him. And she begins to immediately kind of turn and start snapping as kind of lower ranking soldiers come forward, and she begins issuing commands. You do notice that several of the lower ranking soldiers all note the four of you, and they are impressed with your seemingly selfless feat of bravery. But you have been promised that the absence of Jonesy will be looked into and provided an escort back to London's fog.
I don't like this.
I don't like this either. I'm
I
sorry.
didn't like the ghost.
Are you okay? You said a name. Agnes?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, I did. That's who that broad was. It was Agnes Trotter. She's I've seen her around.
You've
Not a
seen
big
her
deal.
around. A criminal?
Yeah. It must have been. Knows to me.
I know who that is, I think. No. They used to tell stories about all the people. Look, it doesn't matter. It's not important. We need to get back to the fog. We need to make sure that he's not there on his own. And I'm sorry to ask this of you, but you'll come back, right, to the fog.
We'll guide you back, little one.
You
were...
Oh yeah, I'm not leaving you now.
And do we notice this dead body beside us? That has the arrow through the neck?
As soon as the crowds clear out and the soldiers kind of, they immediately fall down, and you see several clerics coming forward as they realize someone has been hurt very near where the ghost was. And it takes but a moment, because it's been a bit, as one of the clerics leans down and you see them cast a prayer and grab hold of their symbol, and then look up and shake their head as they slowly kind of close the eyes of the young girl. They simply chalk it up to something that has occurred during the scene. They seem to have the kind of impassioned stare of people that have seen a lot of violence recently.
Did anyone see what happened with this one?
she
I didn't even see her.
She ran to me and an arrow through her neck, and I didn't see where it came from.
Are you hurt? Was she
No.
trying to attack you?
No. I think she was trying to just get the safe. I think maybe the safest place was behind us, and she was just running. She didn't say anything. She just died.
Can I insight check Morwen?
No.
To see if she's like being truthful or not?
You can technically. I was waiting to roll the deception. She did not say anything that was false. So, but you can insight check her if you're kind of looking to see. And I will. She doesn't roll against this, but we're going to give it a DC of 15 because she hasn't said anything. And I'll, depending upon what you roll, I'll let you know what you glean from her statement.
Okay. Oh, that's only a 10. Or an 8,
Yeah,
sorry.
she seems to be telling the truth. Yeah. She seems to be telling the truth.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't see where it came from.
No. Don't blame yourself for an act of violence like this. We will return to the London's fog. And hopefully not run into any more.
I really like that place. Could we go back like forever?
We're going back now, little Graham. And
Because
so
I don't
that's-
have habitable
that's-
ghosts. I felt bad about that.
Okay,
Really bad about that.
we can go back and maybe the music's already started. You seen many musicians around here yet?
a few. I play
into hip-hop.
sometimes.
You play?
Not well.
Oh.
She's
probably
so
better than-
good. She's the best person I've ever heard.
Yeah, there you go.
Ma'am.
You're probably better than me.
Are we gonna get paid still?
Oh my goodness. Edmund, be quiet.
Edmer, we'll go grab a drink. Come on. And
And with
I'll-
that, as you guys are able to quit Castle Waterdeep and you're able to easily kind of retrace your steps to London's fog with the kind of overwatch escort of the Griffin Rider, keeping a pretty decent kind of constant view of you all as you go around. You all get back to London's fog. At this point, it's around 5 in the afternoon. Because of the position of Mount Waterdeep and just kind of the taller buildings, the shadows are beginning to lean as Graham and Ruva and Edmure walk into London's fog. But as Morwen is left outside for a moment, and as the beautiful, the cloudless sky begins to darken, you feel a hand touch your shoulder.
I'm gonna spin around to see who it is.
You see a man that looks like a scarecrow. You see the face of the dreamer as those perfect kingly eyes stare into yours. And he says, "I've dreamed it. I've dreamed it all. The city of splendors. The city of dreams. What's your dream, Morwen?" And that's where we'll end this episode of Waterdeep Dragon Heist.
Yep.
What's your dream,
Holy
Morwen?
moly.
So good. So good.
So good. Oh man, we should play for like another 5 hours.
God, I know. It was too short. We gotta play more.
I don't
Yeah.
have to leave for London for another 5 hours. Let's go. Let's go.
There you go.
Amazing. Well, my friends, that is where our first episode of Waterdeep Dragon Heist is going to end off. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, please do let us know. If you haven't followed the stream, hit the follow button. We're actually looks like super close to hitting 25,000 followers on Twitch. So that would be pretty cool if that happened. Also, stick around because we're giving away a set of those tabletop loot dice in just a few seconds here. So don't go anywhere. You're going to want to be in for a chance to win those. And then in a few minutes, it is our next game, which is a session 1 of our Game of Thrones role-playing game show. Starts in just a few seconds here, but holy moly, well played to everybody. That was fantastic stuff. Let's go around the cast and crew. Did we enjoy ourselves? And of course, where can we find you wonderful people online? Greg, fantastic job tonight throwing this together. I know it was a little bit last minute when we had a couple of player changes, but that was awesome. How was that, my friend?
Listen, Waterdeep is my favorite place in all the Forgotten Realms. I'm so happy to be here. I already love these characters. It's like a Reservoir Dogs moment when you've got Ruva clawed into Edmure, leading this line of the party down through Waterdeep. Fantastic stuff. Love it. Couldn't love it anymore. Can't wait till next week. Grimjack21502 on the Twitches and the Twitters. Follow me there for all the things that I do on my channel and others. But until next week, everybody, keep hanging out in Waterdeep. It is a city of splendor.
Surely it is. Amazing job, Greg, as always. Tiny Pixels, great job tonight. Loving Morwen. Can't wait to see more. How was that?
Really good. My jaw aches from doing that voice, though. It's very strange. The back of my jaw aches from doing this all the time. It's just ridiculous. But no, that's such good fun. I can't wait for next week already. I'm super excited. But yeah, I'm Tiny Pixels, 2 X's, because 3 X's would be a different website. You can find me on Twitch and on Twitter, variety casting every weekend, shouting about the games industry on Twitter during the week. All that kind of nonsense. It's good fun. It's good fun.
Fantastic. Awesome stuff. Loved it. And loved Myth as well, as always. Myth, great job tonight. How was that, my friend?
Man, thank you. It was a lot of fun. I can't wait to play more. I don't know what else there is to say. I'm kind of in. Oh, my cat's knocking stuff over. I'm kind of in I'm speechless right now because it's just every time I play with Greg and I'm so the introduction was amazing, and then I'm like, and now we're supposed to say stuff, or do we just keep watching? It was just so good. I'm super hyped. It was really cool. Edmir's probably cursed. I don't know. But so happy to be playing, and thank you all for playing with me, and thank you, chat. I'm Mythomatic. You can follow me on Twitter or Twitch. It doesn't matter. Anyway, that's places you can see me throughout the week, and also updates on what's going on and when I'm live and all that. Thank you so much. I can't wait for next week.
Fantastic. Cannot wait for more Uncle Edmer. And Auntie Ruva. Vandy, great job tonight. How was that?
That was really fun. I feel like Ruva might be becoming the party mom, which I've done before, but I think that these children will be wonderful, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of growth with her team of people. So yeah, I can't wait for next week. But thank you guys so much. I'm OMGVandy. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/OMGVandy, or on Twitter. And I stream on Saturdays. I stream some games, and on Fridays I stream on Metamancer's channel. We play some Warhammer 40k. So if you'd like more RP stuff, check that out.
Fantastic. Highly recommend you check out all of these folks. Yeah, they're wonderful. All the links are there in chat for you guys. And we'll be back next week at the earlier time of 5 p.m. Eastern for a full 3-hour session. Back with the wonderful James Hake, who wrote it, so it's cheating, right? But he'll be joining us back next week for War Crimes. Yeah, War Crimes. It's been a great wild time. We're about to do the giveaways and then get into the next Game of Thrones, Session 1. But until next time, my friends, try not to roll too many nat ones because we want to be there laughing when you do. Good night, everybody. Bye. Do crimes with your friends. Bye.